You found a side quest!
Hello everyone, Alec Alger, the SideQuest Gamer here, and welcome to part 2 of 8-Bit Sonic 1 for the Master System. You know, it's a version with a higher screen resolution than the Game Gear version, and we are at Jungle Zone, and it's interesting. It actually returns to like more Sonic aesthetics with like, you know, it's got like these arches and all that you can just roll on and gain some speed and all that. Even though momentum is not really impressive, but for the Game Gear and Master System, it does its job fine enough. It's got quite the spectacle. And we got our shield. I think I got a shield in the previous zones. Probably not, but I'm just going to get this life over here. You can never have enough lives in this game, because it still goes by the limited continue system here. Well, knowing it's a lot easier than the Genesis version, it's not really much of a problem, to be honest. Yeah. And here's a checkpoint box. This zone, its theme kind of reminds, it really goes better with a Kirby game than it does with a Sonic game, or at least some Donkey Kong for the Game Boy. I don't know, it feels very mechanical, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I really don't know how to describe it. Yeah, oh jeez, I slipped up here. I'm sorry, I'm not MLG. Kill me! And see, the checkpoint box, it just reboxes itself and you have to hit it again, otherwise you have to restart the entire level if you die. It's a stupid little design choice, but it doesn't really affect me in the long run. I just have to remember to hit it again, but there's just really no goal to it. And over here, I just explore a little bit. I thought a Chaos Emerald was over here, but apparently it wasn't, so I'm an idiot. I think I might do a suicide reset. Probably not. Maybe I won't even have to. Or probably, wait, never mind. I thought I did a suicide reset where I just jump in the water, go back to the checkpoint and all that. So here's the log platform. It kind of reminds me of Super Mario Bros. 2. In fact, if I'm gonna say anything, this is probably the most Mario-like Sonic game out there. And I know someone will be like, Sonic Lost World ripped off Galaxy. I disagree. I'm sorry, it plays nothing like the Galaxy games. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you. But what I mean by Mario-like, it's just like the music in this level, it's very Mario-like. It's just, I don't know, goes better with like a Mario than it does Sonic. And the platforming challenges, there's just a lot of platforming that requires a lot of timing, while Sonic is more about the non-linear level design and just, you know, getting from point A to point B, but how you get there is where it really differs. And just rolling on a log, this is where the rather obtuse location of the Chaos Emerald is. I kind of like how you're rewarded for exploring the levels instead of just doing one of those special stages, but then again, some of these Chaos Emeralds, especially the one in Labyrinth Zone, the location couldn't be in such a weird place. Seriously, it couldn't have been in a weirder place than where it is. You'll see what I mean when we get to it. Alright, yeah, there's really not much variation in platforming other than those vines that you roll onto and use as like a way to like gain some momentum and just fly into the air. And then there's these like logs that go down the really hypnotic waterfall. It really looks like Super Mario Bros. 3 World 3's waterfalls. But it's nice to see those swinging platforms we saw in the Genesis game. Another thing I noticed about these, like, Sonic 1 8-bit, a lot of the enemies kind of recycle themselves. Like, in Sonic 1 Genesis, most of the enemies were very unique to the respective zones and all that, where the caterpillars are only in, like, Marble Zone, and, like, those stealth chameleon enemies are only in Sonic 1, and I died here. I don't know why I did that. I'm an idiot, like I said. I think we'll fast forward that. Or not. Why not? I didn't get too far, so why the heck not? I just want to show off like the momentum. See, it just shoots you up in the air. It's kind of cool. It's a neat little spectacle, but then again, it's more impressive on the Genesis, as I can't say that much enough. Maybe that's why this game has a reputation of being that Sonic game on the Game Gear. Hooray! But it's not fondly remembered as like the Genesis games. Even though when I look at these games retrospectively, like I did reviews of Sonic 1, 2, 8-bit, and then like Chaos and Triple Trouble. And I think Chaos and Triple Trouble, I think for their own reasons, they do stack up to the Genesis games, as those games have the spin dash. And look at that, I got the Sonic sign. I really don't know how to manipulate that sign into my favor. Like, you never want to get Eggman, and I do know, like, you have to get over 50 rings in order to access the exclamation point, which leads to the special stage. I just never knew how to like get Sonic or Eggman. It's just I never figured that out. Is it random? Let me know in the comments if you played this game quite a bit. Like I've only played this game like a few times and all that. Here's the stealth chameleons, and like I said, the enemies, like you see them all over this game. Whereas like the only time Sonic 1 reuses enemies is in the final zone, but that's really understandable because it's like Scrap Brain Zone. It's meant to be the place where all of Robotnik's Badnik enemies are created. But you see these crabs everywhere, you see those red fish in certain levels. It's just this game often reuses the enemies more than like the Sonic 1 Genesis. And you know what, that's fine. It's just I'm not criticizing it or anything like that. I like it. I like the enemies regardless, but it's just an observation when you look at the design mentality Sonic Team has in comparison to that of like Ancient Software. Those who are like, hey, we need you to like make a spin-off Sonic game that plays like the console games, but it's not. Oh jeez, why did I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. One thing I don't like about this game, I'm sorry, I hate saying it, one thing I don't like about this game, it's a downgrade from the Genesis games. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like a negative Nancy when I'm just like criticizing this game, but it's like the rings, like you can never recollect them, and that's another thing about Jungle Zone Act 2. Here's the part what I was talking about earlier. Like, the Game Gear does this a lot better, where the screen does scroll down when you climb up this vertical platforming section and all that. Like, if you go up a little bit, now the bottom is like a bottomless pit, but in the Game Gear version, it's not. You just descend as far as you want, and I like that. I like how a bottomless pit doesn't form for just weird reasons. As you saw, I died for a rather arbitrary reason. It doesn't happen a lot once you know how to, like, you know, bypass it, like, get past it. I don't know why I said bypass it. Never mind. It's just weird. Like, I'm pretty sure Ancient was very aware of it and fixed it for the Game Gear version, since I believe it came out later than the Master System version. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, like in this case, the Game Gear version came out later. I do know for Sonic 2 Game Gear, which was developed by Aspect, the Game Gear version came out a week earlier than the Genesis version, depending on the region you live in. It's interesting. These games have a very unique history that deserves to be talked about. I mean, just putting Sonic on like a handheld, that's a really impressive task, and it's probably like the only reason why a lot of people like the Game Gear. I don't mean to crap on the Game Gear or anything like that. And I died. This boss battle I don't like because of the weird collision detection with the wrecking ball and all that. It's really easy to get hit, even if you knew all like the maneuvers to pull off in order to avoid it. So like find a special spot on that vine that you just jump off of and just go on to the other part of the vine. It just involves like hitting Robotnik but avoiding those wrecking balls that he spawns. They're very annoying obstacles, and they actually cost me a few games. Like my game would just usually end here in like the first few playthroughs, because I got game over and I used up all my continues. So we're done with Jungle Zone. Now we're going to return to familiar territory. In this game there are actually like 3 original zones and 3 like ported zones, but the ported zones, even they have like differences in level design, especially with Green Hill and like Scrap Brain zones. So, we're going to Labyrinth Zone. And boy, I hate this zone. This is like the low point of the game, I'm going to be honest. In fact, like, I never liked Labyrinth Zone in the Genesis version, but it was a lot better design than this because, like, of the blast processing of the Sega Genesis. But jeez, this level is more sluggish than the Genesis version. And while it's easier and simpler and all that, there's a lot of questionable design choices that just really irritate me. Because, like, it wouldn't irritate me if this was on the surface because of the faster pace, but jeez. There's, like, sometimes the camera doesn't really scroll down that well and you'll just jump into that pile of spikes over there. And you have to wait for these bubbles to come out. And no, I will not fast forward this because I want you to suffer with me. I hate this. I hate this so much. These first few playthroughs, just waiting for those bubbles. Oh my god, that was just so annoying. It was obnoxious. It was a slog fest. Ugh, I hate that. And the physics underwater are just so awkward. And here I got a checkpoint. I'm doing alright. But here is the questionable design choice, okay? You can't jump over that enemy because there's spikes above. But, like, watch what it does when it spawns the spikes. You can't jump over them either. So, you know what you gotta do? You gotta go down that column and not... Hopefully you don't hit the spring so you don't impact with the spikes that are just passing by. And then you have to roll and defeat that enemy. That is a poorly placed enemy, if any. And guess what? I lost a lot of oxygen just trying to defeat that annoying enemy. Yeah, thankfully there's a bubble nearby, but still, no excuses, no excuses. It's just rather irksome if you think about it. You'd have to play it to see for yourself. Yeah, this is probably the longest part of, like, this is the longest section of any of these LPs because I can't really play at my own pace, but instead the underwater physics pace. Not fun. Oh, those rolling spike enemies, like those spinning spike enemies, they, like, those obstacles show up again. It's kind of a nice callback, except that the spikes are not really connected to a chain link, so yeah, it's quite interesting. I'm sorry if I'm running out of commentary to talk about. What else can I talk about? It's like an ancient structure that we don't really know who developed it, although from the looks of it, I see like pig emblems, like warthogs built this. Was Sonic trying to, like, you know, be more deep than it really was, or what it became? It's quite interesting. Are those warthog enemies? I don't know what those are. They look like warthog emblems. And we're at the end of the first act. That was quite a slog. Here's Act 2 where, like, I'll be showing you where to get the Chaos Emerald. It's probably the weirdest way of getting the Chaos Emeralds. Trust me, we'll get there. Here I die quite a few times and all that. I don't know why I'm so bad. Cause yeah, like, you need to get good. Well, you know why I gotta say that? Why don't you play the game for yourself? Yeah. This level is so boring. It's probably it's like really bad for commentary material. I will say one positive about that. I kind of like the blue filter effects of it, and like, I know the sprites are pretty much recolored underwater and all that, but it's pretty neat to simulate that you're underwater. That's one thing I'll give it credit for. And the music is pretty nice. Not my favorite music in the entire game, but it will suffice. You know, it's acceptable. But jeez, here I get a life, but I just run out of oxygen. This is like the closest call in the game. I'm just running out of oxygen. I don't know. Oh, jeez, the spike just impacted me. That was foolish of me. I think I jumped way too high, but I'm running out of oxygen. I think I'm not going to make it. There's not an oxygen bubbles in sight. And just wait till you see what happens next. This is the closest call. And a bubble forms, just saving me on the very last second. I could drown there. It's kind of interesting. There's not the panic-filled music where it's like... You know, and then you just hear bubbles and then Sonic dying. It's a rather gory fashion. Well, it's not really gory, but you just see him fill up with water and just drown. That's really disturbing for a platforming character starring a cute little hedgehog. I say, Sonic's sprite is rather adorable in the classic games. I know he's supposed to be this mascot with attitude, but he's still rather an adorable character. Just because you're rad and you're cool doesn't mean you can't be adorable. Look at that, I like the idle animations. He's just tapping his foot angrily like, come on, move already, play the game. But sorry, Sonic, I'm just waiting for the stupid oxygen bubble to like show up. But I don't really I don't like how there's not that like panic-filled music where you're just like you have 5 seconds to look for like an oxygen bubble, but like all you hear is beeping and it just gets faster and faster. But still, it's not that cool. It's not even like it's not even a certain tone where like in Zelda where Low on Hearts would be like there's like a certain tone of beeping that just, you know, makes you feel a little anxious, not too anxious. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, and I got this invincibility power up, but we need this to get the Chaos Emerald, okay? This is the weirdest thing, alright? This Chaos Emerald is just such in a weird place that I had to look up like an LP myself just to see where it is, and you will never guess where it is. See that spikes? The Chaos Emerald is in those spikes, meaning you can only get it when you're invincible. Like, you never really had to use a power-up with the exception of something like the Wisp power-ups to, like, get something, but that's about it. Alright, cat. So we beat Act 2. And what do we get? We got the 4th Chaos Emerald, and that's the end of Part 2. Thank you all so much for joining me. Join me as I'll go to... oh wait, it's not over yet. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. We gotta fight the boss. Yes, there's actually a boss battle. You don't just chase him like you did in Sonic 1 Genesis. No, like, this boss battle is actually one of the better ones in the game. I mean, yeah, it's still a monster, you just hopping on him and just trying to damage his craft and all that. It's kind of like the Bridge Zone boss, except he's underwater shooting these homing torpedoes on you. They're pretty easy to avoid, but it's still kind of neat. It's actually like there's different attack patterns that you have to recognize and avoid at all costs. Oh jeez, that was a close call. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have like stayed still and just waited for the trajectory of those projectiles. These bosses take around like 8 or 9 hits. I can't remember. I'd say it's 8 hits, but yeah. Not the most interesting bosses, but they will suffice. And we beat Dr. Robotnik once again. Jeez, without his windshield, like, he can't breathe. He can't breathe, he's gonna drown. Maybe that's why he's, like, got out of the level so fast. And that's the end of Part 2. Thank you all so much for joining me. Let me know what you think is worse, Labyrinth Zone in this game or Labyrinth Zone in Sonic the Hedgehog for the Genesis. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section if you played this game. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember to stay awesome. Tune into Part 3 where we'll do the final 2 zones, being Scrap Brain Zone, and believe it or not, there's a zone after it where Scrap Brain Zone is not the final zone. Well, I can't wait to do this, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!